Hi everyone, welcome back to Bake My Day and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be baking on a budget together and we're going to be baking shortbread. It's super easy and super inexpensive, so give it a go yourself at home. For this recipe you only need 3 ingredients, so it's super easy and you've probably already got them in your cupboard. You're going to need plain flour or all-purpose flour, salted butter or unsalted butter with a pinch of salt, and caster sugar. To give you an idea of just how inexpensive this recipe is, I bought my flour from the Co-op and that cost me £1.05p. I bought my salted butter from Tesco's and that cost me £1.90, and I bought my caster sugar from Co-op as well and that cost me £2.55. But we're only going to be using a fifth of that today, so you've got plenty for future bakes. You can also substitute your flour for gluten-free flour if needs be. It won't affect the recipe. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to preheat our oven to 190 degrees Celsius. Once you've done this, you're going to want to start by measuring out your butter and your sugar. You're going to need 100 grams of sugar, or half a cup. I tend to use cups rather than scales as they're a little bit easier for students to have access to. And you're also going to need 227 grams of butter, which is usually indicated on the wrap of the butter. Next, you want to mix these two together in a mixing bowl. Make sure that the butter has softened a bit. To do this, you can use a wooden spoon or a metal one if you're in a pinch. It doesn't really matter, you'll still get the same outcome. Next, you're going to want to add 340 grams or 2 3/4 cups of flour to your mix. Mix it until you get a stiff consistency and be sure not to overmix it as you want it to be quite stiff and just about coming together. And that's it, you've made your shortbread dough. You can add any flavors you want to this. You can add lemon, vanilla, almond extract, anything you want, but for the purpose of the recipe, I'm just gonna keep it as is. When it comes to molding it for the oven, there's different ways that you can do this. For the purpose of this video, I'm gonna show you this super easy trick that you can do with parchment paper or cling film. You want to scoop out all of your dough onto this piece of parchment paper or cling film. I'm using parchment paper. Then you're going to twist it and tie it together as shown. Put it in the fridge to chill for about 30 minutes, but you can leave it longer if you want to. Once you finish chilling the dough, take it out of the fridge, unwrap it, and chop it up into thin slices. This is a super easy way to get nice shortbread without using a rolling pin or cookie cutters, as a lot of the time we don't always have them. Once you have your shortbread dough ready, pop it on a parchment-lined baking tray, and if you want to add a little bit of more design and make it seem a bit more like store-bought, then go ahead and prick it with a fork. Next, you're going to want to place your shortbread in the oven for 15 to 30 minutes. It's quite a large gap in between that time, but it just depends on how thick you've made your shortbread, and you're going to want to keep an eye on it and take it out whenever the edges are browning. As soon as you've taken them out of the oven, sprinkle some sugar over the top. Let your shortbread cool on the tray and move it to a cooling rack if you have one. The great thing about shortbread is that if you want to keep it past 2 weeks, you can just pop it in the freezer. You can also eat them up to 2 weeks and they won't go stale, as long as you keep them in an airtight container and in a dry and cool place. You can find all of the nutrition information as well as the full recipe on the recipe card linked down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing time making your own shortbread.